So I was actually one of Charlie Morgan's first ever employees, which means that I got to basically download his brain into mine. And as time went by, I went from being an appointment setter to becoming a closer to becoming his sales lead to then becoming a sales manager to then becoming the sales coach for all of Charlie Morgan's clients. And one of the key things when it comes to sales is understanding how to think, right? It's more than just scripts, it's more than just following word tracks. You actually need to understand how to think in order to be very successful at sales as an online business owner. And so in this video today, what I'm going to do is share with you a clip from a coaching session that I did earlier on with this week with one of my clients, explaining how I think and how this approach and style of thinking has enabled me to generate millions and millions of dollars in sales and help my clients to generate well in excess of $10 million in sales also. So enjoy. We also had the brand reputation, right? So I'll show you how I would go about tackling that side of things. Okay, so when first time starting, I'll try and explain it in a little bit more detail as well, so you can see what's going on in my head. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start off with a very open question, just so that I can get some immediate insight to what your perspective is. Okay, so when it comes to the brand reputation side of things, I know that this is me demonstrating that I was paying attention, right? Because if I just phrase the question of, when it comes to the brand reputation side of things, what is it that you're concerned about? I know that you've already told me that you're concerned about it being spammy, right? So I need to put that part into the question, but then also go back to it being open-ended, so it doesn't sound like I'm not listening. Okay. So when it comes to the brand reputation side of things, I know that you said, I guess one of your concerns is that it could be a little bit spammy. Could you elaborate on that for me? Or I could also tag onto the back end of that. And just to make sure that I'm being thorough here as well, is it just, maybe I would say this as a second question, but I could then say something to the effect of it. Is it just that you're concerned that it's going to be spammy, or there are other things that make you a little bit hesitant too?
Yeah, the message you guys sent, and I booked this call. Since then, I've probably gotten 3 or 4 messages that were very similar. And so now it started me thinking, and you've explained the system that this was kind of AI generated ChatGPT kind of way. And I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous. And so when I think about implement this for me and my business and this going out to my potential clients, I'm concerned they'll associate that disingenuousness with our bespoke high end brand, which is not something I want to do. And also I feel like it's burning bridges for the long term. Like if you send 10,000 emails and someone's not happy with the way I've reached out, that's kind of like gone then, you know what I mean?
Okay, so now I'm active listening. You've said 3 different things that I could approach as a point of attack. So now I'm engaging in lateral thinking. One, to think about what is going to be the pathway, either to reframe your perspective on this, or do I need to go down the pathway of gaining some more understanding? So just to highlight what are the things that came up, you said I received 4 different emails, but you didn't specify who it was from. I deduced to an extent that it was from us, but I could, if I wasn't clear on that, say something to the effect of, when you're saying that you got 4 different emails, just so I'm clear, do you mean 4 different emails from us? Or are you talking about, since you received our email, you've seen 4 different emails that are similar to it? Just to get that clarity, because that does inform, it's 2 different things. Like, if you're complaining about other people's approach, then I need to pick apart, well, how is their approach different from ours? If you're talking about our approach, then I need to lean into the aspect of you having control over how many emails are going out and what is going to be appropriate for your niche, and go down the whole pathway of, well, of course it makes sense. Like, if we're doing outreach to tradespeople, do you think that realistically we would need, rhetorical question, binary question, do you think realistically the messaging that we would send to, plumbers is going to be different to the types of messaging that we would send to lawyers? Yeah, 100%. But it's kind of the same thing with this, right? Certain markets require more follow-up, versus other markets that require less follow up. But the key thing with this is because everything that we do is bespoke, yada, 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 you would have control over that. We don't have to do 4 outreaches, right?
The disingenuous associated with my brand. I think that was the other point, was it?
Disingenuous is, okay, so now, when you're saying that you feel like it's disingenuous, could you explain that to me in a little bit more detail before I go into my reframe? What is it that you mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, bringing up a case study that they've done, or saying, "Oh, congratulations on hitting this milestone," when it's not coming from a person and just AI, I just for some reason, for me personally, just feels like that's not, seems just not true or something like that,
Okay, understood. And before you knew that it was AI, did you feel like it was disingenuous, or did you feel like it was impressive?
No, I thought it was impressive, and that's why when I seen the second, third, and fourth message, and then I started to realize, like, okay, this is not actually talking to a person. I think that was that drop in expectation, or the fall from expectation is really what kind of felt disingenuous,
And when you say the third, fourth message, what specifically was it in the message that made you feel that way? Just so I can understand.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of the same, not exactly the same words, but the same kind of structure and kind of frame to get on a call. These messages are coming from competitors, by the way.
I see. Okay, and just so I can understand this in a little bit more depth, did you book in calls with those competitors?
No.
When did you receive those messages from the competitors? Were they all like yesterday or over the weekend? What does that look like?
Let's say I booked in this call 1 week in previous, so probably in that 1 week, let's say.
Okay, understood. With this in mind, then, Aaron, just so I can understand. So now I'm starting to find an angle, right? Because why didn't you book in a call with them? Or also, why didn't you cancel the call with us? If you think it's that problematic, why are you here? That's where my head is at right now. Mm-hmm. So with this in mind, then, Aaron, in terms of these other competitors, just help me to understand, why is it that you booked in a call with them, but you booked in a call with us?
Yeah, and the guy on the call, he said, well, you guys were first, so.
Okay, understood. But I guess I'm sure that there must be more to it than just that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not giving me anything. So now I need to double down on it, because there must be something up. So I guess there must be a little bit more than that.
Yeah. We have been very referral based for a while now, and we're kind of at mercy to the markets. And in the last 4 years, the markets have not been good, let's say. So I am looking, and I am open to trying a system where I can consistently book appointments with the type of people that I'm looking to speak with. So I am open to hearing out what you guys have to say.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, in terms of it feeling disingenuous as well, is that just in relation to the case study, or is this more in relation to what is just that it's not a human that is doing this task, and so I feel like it's a little bit deceitful?
Let's say human. The human reason.
Okay, cool. So with this, then I'm going to have to lean in the direction of like the whole AI thing, right? And how, I mean, whether he likes it or not, this is just how things are going to be. So in terms of AI as a whole, have you implemented any AI processes into your business? Are you making use of, I mean, let's even say this is going to be probably a good angle of attack. ChatGPT. Have you ever used ChatGPT to help you in the business?
Yeah, of course. It's great for sending those emails out that you don't want to be spending all day slaving over.
Okay, so you would go to ChatGPT, you would spend a little bit of time actually kind of constructing the base layer of what you would want the email to be, and then you would get ChatGPT to put it together. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes.
And are you sending these to clients? Are you sending these to employees? Is it a little bit of both?
It's all the above, to be honest, actually. That's a good point you raise.
Okay, cool. And just so I'm clear on this, have you had people come back to you and say, hey, Aaron, like I feel like you're being disingenuous. I would prefer if you spent that extra 5-10 minutes writing out this email for me. Or do you think that perhaps on their side they're actually doing a similar thing and also using AI as a way to streamline their workflow and have more time to be able to invest into their clients to ensure that they get success?
Yeah, I think I have to be honest. I think you're right with what you say there. Yeah, I think they're trying to streamline things to focus more on the high leverage tasks.
Cool. It's kind of the same thing. There we are. Anytime I say it's kind of the same thing with this, I've got what I need, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with this. I do agree with you, and I do understand where you're coming from in terms of, you don't want your whole sales process to be disingenuous. And this is actually why we leverage the AI side of things. Because if I was to just send you an outreach message and say, hey, Aaron was having a look at your profile, think you look great, yada, 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 yada. Are you open to having a chat? You probably would feel like I'm being even more disingenuous because I haven't shown any evidence of some effort. Then I can go into the later stages of the appointment booking process is handled by a human. It's only this first initial stage just to get your attention and build some initial rapport. Then I can go into the whole how Clay works. If you're not happy with the case study side of things, then we could base it off of how your website is structured or how your LinkedIn profile looks or the types of recommendations that you're getting or where somebody is based in the country. Like there's so many different angles. So based on those different angles, which approach do you feel like would be most comfortable for you? Basically here, what I'm doing is I'm showing you that there's optionality. Worst case scenario, what I'm going to lean into is this whole aspect of, okay, do you remember when ChatGPT came out?
Yeah, because I use it for exams, yeah.
Okay, cool. And I guess it hasn't really been that long since, AI has been public facing, about 2 years or so. Would you agree with me that in that last 2 years, that the applications and use cases of AI has grown exponentially?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the last 2 years, we've gone from being able to ask basic questions to ChatGPT to now being able to have fully blown AI agents and videos that, to be honest with you, kind of look like they're real, right? When you take all of this in consideration, let's say we pace this out by 10 years. Now I'm going consequence of you not using this. If we pace this out 10 years, would you rather be in the camp of people who don't use AI because they feel like it's a little bit disingenuous, even though at this stage, probably, let's just be conservative, probably 50% of business owners in some way, shape, or form are using it? Or would you rather be part of the camp of people who are riding on the tailwinds of this incredible technological development?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost similar to a business that still uses fax and not email, Yeah.
So now I feel like you're on my side. So I want to tie it all off, right? So with all of this taken into consideration, are you happy with the AI side of things? I'm going to bring in the different points, knowing the fact that ultimately, by the sounds of things, you're in agreement with me that your business is going to need to move in this direction anyway, and that you have a vast variety of options when it comes to how you actually personalize that initial message.
Yeah.
And then, dependent on how you say that yes, which I did in the last role play we did, I may reconfirm. If you gave me a yeah, like you did there, I'd be like, are you sure? Because if you're not, it's absolutely fine. So I'm waiting for you to give me a more confident yes. No, yes, I am. Okay, perfect. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the last one. This one is a little bit more tricky and it requires more depth of exploration. But again, the key thing to focus on with this, Aaron, is there's so many different scripts, right? There's so many different things that you could say, which is why the soft skills are going to be the thing that makes you a killer. You master the soft skills, you don't need scripts. And none of this is pre-rehearsed. It's just the soft skills, right? So when you say that you're a little bit concerned about the time investment, again, very open-ended question, geared towards something specific, but then open, right? When you say that you're concerned about the time investment, could you just elaborate on that a little bit for me? Where is that coming from?
Yeah, I mean, to implement a system and put this into practice, either I'm gonna have to take time away to do this, or somebody else will have to have on a team will have to do that, and that's resources that could be allocated somewhere else. So if this doesn't work out, that's just kind of gone, you know. And I know you mentioned the guarantee, so there's money back guarantee, but there's still that time cost, you know.
Okay, so there's active listening. So there's three different pathways that we can go down here, right? One is the time. On face value, we can take it as just time, which it is. That's the core aspect of the objection. But there's also value. That time could be spent elsewhere. So in my head, what I'm now, when it comes to the time, just to tie this off, when it comes to the time, I would then do a time audit. Well, how much time do you have available, right? Are you being lazy is ultimately what my end state is. When it comes to the value side of things, I'm then going to dive into, well, what are the other tasks that you would be doing that would be more valuable than this? Let's say, I don't know how much time it would take. Let's say it takes them 50 hours, right? 50 hours to implement the system, yada, 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 yada. And with the system working successfully, we're confident, or you're confident, that that would add 100K to the business. Let's just say, okay? The end state that I'm working towards is, for a lack of better words, tell me something that you know right now you can put 50 hours into, or that your team can put 50 hours into, that is definitely going to make you 100K. Right?
Yeah. The answer I don't know. Yeah.
If you have something, then maybe you should do that. Right? If you don't, then maybe you should do this. This is that whole 5% thing. Because you could be right. I don't know. But I'm getting you to question. I can see Alan cracking up in the background. I'm getting you to question whether what you're saying is true or not. And again, it's not that I'm trying to convince you. I am also trying to understand at the same time. And that's where being a collaborative closer, a consultative closer, a puller, like a pulling salesperson rather than a pushy salesperson, comes into play. The fear aspect is also something. It's a little bit more separated from the time side of things. So I probably, well, I would definitely handle that last, right? So the way that I would work through this is I'm going to go through each step in small pieces based on the weight that I think needs to be allocated to them. So the time side of things doesn't really need too much of my attention, I don't think, because the crux of the time objection is rooted in value and in fit. So what I would do, and then we can kind of wrap this up, I'll run through the last bit. Okay, so core concern, me doing this now, the core concern that you have at the moment is basically just that the time perhaps wouldn't be best spent putting it into developing these systems. Is that correct? I'm doing that for two reasons. One, I'm doing that to demonstrate that I'm paying attention, but the real reason that I'm doing that is to buy myself time to figure out where I'm going. Okay, is that correct?
Yeah. If this doesn't work out, then it's time wasted. Yeah.
Okay, and just for the sake of this, just for the sake of this, let's just work on the premise that it does work. And I'm more now, because I want to get buy-in, to just be able to chunk things up and tackle it one by one. Just for the sake of this, let's assume that it does work. Then on the back end, I now need to say, but I'm still aware that what you're saying is a real thing and that you have concerns around the fear side of things. But with all of that in mind, I do also actually want to explore this aspect of this not potentially working for you, Aaron, but if we can just focus on it working for now. So I'm really controlling the conversation, right? Is that all right? Get confirmation. Yes, fine. So in terms of time, is it that you would be developing out this whole system, or right now, do you have people in the team that you would trust to do these type of tasks that maybe it's actually kind of their job to be really pushing the conversation in this direction now? Is it really their job to actually be responsible for lead generation and client acquisition?
Yeah, I think I have a guy I can trust to go ahead with this.
And am I right in assuming, now I'm kind of getting into your head, right? And again, helping to build trust, helping to build rapport, show you that I have expertise. Am I right in thinking, though, even if you were to hand over tasks to, let's just call this person John, to hand over tasks to John, that you would want to oversee certain elements, kind of looping back to this whole brand reputation and using previous things that have happened to inform me of how I understand that you want to run the business, that you would want to have oversight of how the messages would be constructed, etc. But ultimately, when it comes to actually developing out the systems, you'd be happy for them to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Now I've separated it. To explain why I'm doing this is because all of this is logical as well. You are going to want to have a look at the messages. I know you don't want to actually build out the system yourself, most likely if you're doing 100K. So now I've done that, I need to figure out how much time do you have, and I need to figure out how much time does this other person have, which is then going to lead me into the value side of things. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can segment up the tasks, and then I will get to a stage where I show you this is the area of the product that you need to go through. When it comes to the offer, when it comes to checking over the messaging, yada, 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 that realistically is going to be about 5 hours of your time. Okay. When it comes to building up systems, it's going to be about 45 hours of John's time. Okay. So on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, how many hours are you working?
8-9 hours.
8-9 hours. Okay. And outside of those 8-9 hours, what else are you doing? Is it like spending time with family, going to the gym? What does that look like?
Yeah, honestly, this time mainly family.
And do you have time to yourself where sometimes you're, watching Netflix or just, I don't know, bumming around, scrolling on your phone or watching YouTube videos?
Yeah, of course. Everybody has a bit of time like that. Yeah,
you're 100% right. So there, I wouldn't do it with that tonality, but I'm just leaning into there's no judgment on my side, right? Then I want to quantify that. Roughly, how much time are you spending per week, like watching Netflix or like scrolling on your phone?
Oh, it's hard to quantify, but let's say there is an hour a day in there.
An hour a day. And okay, so that's Monday to Friday. And on the weekends, obviously, Aaron, again, I'm leaning into, I want you to have a good life. I want you to be with your family like I actually do. On the weekends, obviously, I'm sure that you're spending time with your family. You want to have some time to be able to relax, etc. But how much time do you have available over the weekends on a Saturday or Sunday? What does that look
like? Yeah, I mean, I do have time. I wouldn't like to, I don't work on Sunday, that's just a rule. But Saturday, yes, I do have, let's say a couple hours in the morning I can put aside.
Okay. So now I'm tying it all together. So from what I'm understanding, realistically, if you had to push, like if you really had to push, per week you have about 7 hours available. Obviously, I know that now I'm going to I'm going to basically pre-handle your objection. Obviously, I know that you don't want to do this forever, but from what I'm understanding, there are 7 hours available.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do the same process with the employee. Okay. So I've now found the time and handled that because now you know that there's no issue with the time. So now I can go to the value side of things, which is basically what I already explained about where are you going to be able to make this money. So from one of the things that I'm understanding right now is that, again, I'm buying myself time and figuring out the pathway. One of the things that I'm understanding right now is that your concerns that potentially investing your time into this is not going to be the best way that it could be spent. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And when you say it's not the open-ended question, when you say it's not the best way that it could be spent, where else could you be allocating this time that you feel like would move the needle for the business?
Me personally, you're talking about, or?
Well, as a business, for the business as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Between you and John.
Yeah. I think maybe just researching or figuring out a way to do outreach and get more clients, because I do agree that is like the blocking point like we discussed earlier.
Okay, so that's an interesting thing that you've brought up here. I do need to go in a minute, but we'll play this out for like another couple of minutes. Do you have a call coming up, Aaron?
No, I don't think so. Sorry, 1 second. No, I'm good.
We'll go for another 4 minutes. Okay, so you said something that's really interesting there because you haven't given me the response I expected. You've said, well, I would be investing my time into client acquisition anyway. But then the core of your objection is around or I assumed it was around client acquisition. This is where asking questions is important, because then that now informs me more so that there's more weight on the fear, more weight on the concern that it's actually not going to work. It's not just a core blue true value objection that you don't think this is actually worth the time. But I would still dive into this. That's active listening. I'm reading between the lines. I'm using everything that you have told me in this role play to help me to inform this perspective. But I'm going to still ask questions around this. Okay, so from what I'm understanding, again, I'm buying myself time. From what I'm understanding, the whole purpose, if you weren't doing this, you would be putting time and effort and energy into figuring out the client acquisition side of things. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so I can understand this in a little bit more detail then. What is it specifically about what you'd be doing by yourself that you feel like would be more valuable than loaded question? Having a team of experts who've already done this for, over 170 people, yada, 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 who already have a proven process in place.
If I'm being honest, I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure what the exact thing I could be doing that would be more beneficial.
Okay. So just so I'm clear on this, in terms of investing time into client acquisition, is it a case that your core concern doesn't actually revolve around, no, I don't see putting time into client acquisition as a waste. It's more that I'm just concerned that potentially your approach isn't going to work specifically for me.
Yeah, I think putting time in client acquisition is not a waste. I'm afraid of wasting my time, though, if that makes sense.
Okay. And what about the process? What about what we've gone through today makes you feel like potentially this could be a waste of time? What's coming up like specifically for you that makes you think, yeah, this is not going to work?
I think just my overall skepticism of the outreach, of just cold outreach. I haven't really done it before. And just my whole skepticism of the system.
Yeah, I'm going to be really lazy here just to speed up things so you can get an overview of the whole entire process. Now I'm going to go for the reframe. I might spend a little bit more time asking questions, but I'm going to go for the reframe now. Okay, from what I understand, Aaron, just so you're clear, I wouldn't do this whole, from what I understand, thing as frequently. It's because I'm diving into the role play, trying to explain what I'm doing, and then so it's just taking me longer than normally. From what I understand, Aaron, you've been in business for about 10 years now, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. And roughly, how often do people reach out to you? Like, say on a monthly basis, how many outreach messages do you get from LinkedIn to cold calls to emails? If you just had to put like a rough number on it.
Let's say 5 a day, I get so many.
About 5 a day. So we're looking at about 100 people per month reaching out to you.
Are we talking clients or like guys like yourself?
Just people asking if you want help with this or this or this. So people like us.
Yeah, five times a day minimum, yeah.
About 5 times a day. Okay, understood. And obviously I know earlier on you were telling me that, see, now I'm really guiding the conversation. I'm conversational looping. I'm using what you've already told me as a way to get the answer that I want. Obviously earlier on you told me you're pretty busy. You're working 9 hours a day. You want to spend time with your family, etc. You're getting 5 outreaches on a daily basis. How frequently do you actually jump on calls? Or is it that actually the vast majority of your time is being put into looking after your clients, looking after your family? How many calls do you jump on, per week, per month?
Very, very rarely. Very rarely.
So that's not an answer, right? For me, I need to quantify it. When you say very rarely, just so I'm clear, what do you mean by that? Does that mean like 1 a year? I'm being ridiculous here, so that you will give me something more concrete, because I'm highlighting the fact that that doesn't mean anything. Or does that mean that I'm jumping onto, I don't know, like 2 calls a week?
Probably once a month maximum.
Once a month. Okay. So from what I'm picking up, you're getting 100 outreaches per month, and you're only actually having conversations with 1% of the people who get in contact with you. Yeah?
Yeah.
With all of this in mind then, I guess what separated us from the 99 other people who reached out to you this month?
That unique messaging got me at the start. Yeah, I was interested and intrigued what you guys had to say.
Okay. And given that you are a successful business owner making 100K per month, who's pretty, particular with ensuring that you're, what is the word that I'm looking for here? Protecting your time. Do you think that your ideal clients are kind of like that as well? They don't want to just jump onto calls with people all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And given the fact that we were able to get you onto a call and beat out 99% of the competition, do you think that we also might be able to do the same for your clients?
I think so. I see your point. I understand where you're coming from. That yeah, I did jump on this call, so it is testament to the system must be working.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. That's a masterclass. I'm gonna have to. I'll probably watch this call 5 times.
Yeah. So I really would obviously learn the strips, go through the product, etc. Like just keep going through it. But the key thing, Aaron, to get great at is the soft skills. You have that, you're set. And I mean it for life. Like it will help every area of your life, communication, outside of work. So really zone in on that. And that's why the videos are so long. It's because I can just give you the script, but it's the understanding that will make you elite.